One of the ongoing challenges for the state legislature, which is going to be your problem before you know it, is our pension fund for public employees. To talk to us about it, Joshua Sharf from the Independence Institute. Thank you back. Thank you for being here again. That's what I meant.
Glad to be here. You know, our president-elect made a joke once about the only guy he wanted counting his money were the short little guys who wear yarmulkes all the time. So here I am.
It's a nice yarmulke you got.
Well, thank you.
I'm thinking about doing that too, just to hide the bald spot. I think that would work for me.
It could.
Anyway, let's go over this real fast.
A big yarmulke.
Big yarmulke with the ears on it. The PERA fund, this is a public...
This Public Employee Retirement Association.
Thank you.
And it is the Colorado State Public Pensions.
All right, so everybody who works for the state, not everybody, but most people who work for the state and most big school districts, put money into this pension fund. Sounds like a great plan, except it's completely upside down, and we, the taxpayers, are going to be on the hook for this thing. So how upside down is this pension fund? So
currently, and this has been true for a little while, currently we have about 60 cents to cover every dollar of promises that have been made. Now that's what PERA admits to. That comes out to about a $28 billion with a B, $28 billion worth of promises that the state has made that it does not have the money to cover.
All right, let's put this into perspective. $28 billion is pretty much what the state government spends in an entire year. That includes all the federal money that flies in as well. So if we wanted to set this fund right, we could spend nothing on roads, nothing on health care, nothing on education, nothing on prisons, nothing for a year. Just shut down everything, put it into here, and then we'd finally be okay. What does this work out to? What are we on the hook for?
Well, we think, I mean, our own analysis has that number as actually being potentially as much as 3 times more than that. The number that we generally use when we're looking at our own calculations is about $60 billion worth of promises.
Why the difference?
Well, it's the way you value the promise. So what PERA does is it uses the rate of return, and it says, well, you know, we're gonna calculate what in today's dollars how much this promise is worth, and we think that's the wrong number. We think that when the state makes a promise, that people value that more highly, and therefore that promise is worth more. So we argue that it's about a $60 billion worth of unfunded liability. That comes to about $30,000 per household. If you think about that, what it means is it's about the same thing as going out and getting a home equity loan to do a kitchen remodel, only you don't actually get the kitchen.
And this is doubly dangerous for a couple of reasons. One, this is among all the other unfunded liabilities we have, even on a national level, of Social Security, Obamacare, Medicare, Medicaid, all these things that are coming due, VA, that we've made promises we can't pay for. Then on the state level, we have this another massive promise we can't pay for, which means either we're going to pay a whole lot more in taxes when this bill comes due, or the good people who have given their careers to government service, from teachers to the guys who work on the roads, they might not have a retirement, and they think they do. This is not a 401k plan where it's their money. This is a promise.
They own, unlike your 401k where you own a piece of an asset, where you really own something tangible. Now it's an investment, but you own something tangible and you can look day to day what that's going to be worth. That's exactly right. It's a piece of a promise. And if you can't make that promise, it's unfair to the retirees who have, when they get to the end of their careers, you know, that's it. They don't have any more choices. They're relying on this. It's unfair to the communities that suddenly either their own tax money is either going to have to be raised considerably, or you're going to have to do without roads, less money going into classrooms, less money going into, I mean, we can argue all day about what government should be doing, but you can't have that argument at all if there's no money to do any of it. And then it also, you know, nobody feels sorry for and they shouldn't feel sorry for politicians, but it puts them in a situation where they are encouraged to make additional promises, or they're the ones who sort of have to balance this stuff out. Get them out of the process, and there are ways of getting them out of the process as well, so that suddenly somebody's retirement isn't dependent on political decisions that are being made by guys who want re-election.
You know, when you think about this, the only way we're going to be able to pay for people to get the pensions that have been promised. It's kind of like Social Security. As long as the next generation, there's more of them making more money, since it's a Ponzi scheme, it'll be fine. So as long as we just keep hiring more government employees and they're putting money into the system and matched here, maybe it'll be okay.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. Most of the money really comes from taxpayers. It doesn't necessarily just come from the employees. But the other thing to keep in mind here is that when they, like I say, when they get to the end of their careers, they have no more choices. Somebody who's starting out now, if we go and fix this thing, if we go and shift it over to either a defined contribution plan like a 401k or a cash balance plan, we say, well, listen, we're not going to promise you an annuity every year, but we're going to say based on some formula, you'll have this many dollars in the account when you leave. Then you can put a cap on this problem. And then at least you can start to, then you can start to get this thing under control. Right now, according to PERA's own study that was done at the behest of the legislature last year, there is about a 15% chance or so that the state fund and the school fund will go belly up sometime in the next 30 years. We'll simply not have the money to make the payment in the next 30 years. About 1 in 6.
1 in 6.
So roll the dice, and if it comes up,
Imagine people looking at their 401k plan tonight. When you're doing this, go ahead, pull it up and go, hey, this is what I've got. Imagine if there was a 1 in 6 chance it wasn't going to be there for you. That's what we're dealing with. Real quick, we've got less than a minute. What's the solution? How do we fix this mess?
Well, you have to do 2 things. But the first thing is to stop adding to the problem. Convert the promises that are not yet vested, and for new employees, convert that over to a defined contribution plan like a 401k. And the other thing that you have to do is have a more realistic rate of return, have a more realistic investment plan. Right now, part of the problem is that PERA may not make its rate of return. If it doesn't, it's going to ask money from you when you also haven't been getting it.
They're claiming that they can make 7.5%.
7.25%. I think
7.25% now. Oh, they lowered it down. For a while there was 8%, when everybody else is getting 3 or 4%. So they're making these promises they can't deliver.
Well, and the worst part is they're going to come back and ask you to pay for that retirement first before you can even save for your own. But if they're not getting the rate of return, neither are you.
Joshua, thank you so much. You can check out his report at independenceinstitute.org. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Read me in the Denver Post, and we'll see you next week.